Let's now focus on another social aspect surrounding parliamentary representation: youth representation in parliament. Youth marginalization and discrimination have been long-running issues rooted in the Sri Lankan political arena. Around 5 million of Sri Lanka's population consist of the youth, yet there is a meager representation of youth in parliament. Youth quota in Sri Lanka. In the early 1990s, following a suggestion from the late President Ranasinghe Premadasa's 1990 Youth Commission, the government opted to implement a youth quota. According to the Commission, the youth felt excluded, stigmatized, and marginalized. In response to this, the Commission proposed a number of remedies to address the fundamental flaws. It was also suggested that a quota system for youth be established by law in order to improve youth representation in municipal institutions. The youth quota was introduced in 1990 by amending the Local Authorities Elections Amendment Act No. 25 of 1990 to allow 40% of young candidates between the ages of 18 and 35 to be included on the nomination lists. The youth quota in local government was in place from 1990 to 2012. However, in 2012, an amendment to the Local Authorities Election Amendment Act removed the 40% mandatory quota for youth and instead provided that 25% of the total number of candidates and additional persons whose names appear in each nomination paper may consist of women and youth. Thereafter, it has become exceptionally difficult for any youth without any political background to contest for either local government elections, provincial council elections, or even the parliamentary election. Let's now take a look at the exclusion of youth from parliamentary politics and the importance of having youth in parliament. According to the latest report by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, or the IPU, on young parliamentary representation, half of the world's population is under the age of 30, and globally only 2.6% of parliamentarians represent this age group. Internationally, countries like Kenya, Kyrgyzstan, Rwanda, and Tunisia have adopted at least some kind of a quota system to empower youth. These can be reserved seats, legal candidate quotas, or voluntary party quotas. According to the IPU, 37% of chambers of parliament have no MPs under the age of 30, and individuals aged 20 to 39 make up 38.6% of the world's population. Yet, only 17.5% of MPs are under the age of 40. Also, fewer than 1 in 6 parliamentarians have a caucus for young MPs. Canada is known as the country with a young, spirited political culture and has 74 parliamentary members under the age of 45. The top 5 youngest parliamentarians in the world include Norway, Armenia, San Marino, Gambia, and Venezuela. Measures such as promoting a youth quota, supporting youth to take incentive within the political context and outside, empowering youth parliamentarians and involving them in policy-making discussions and platforms, engaging young politicians through youth parliaments and student parliaments into the national political culture, advocating society on the importance of youth representation, ensuring at least 30% quota to the youth, are some of the immediate actions that can be taken to increase youth involvement in parliamentary politics. If you are a member of this group that is called the youth, there are ways in which you can interact with the parliamentary system in this country and increase political literacy in that aspect. Now, this section contains the ways in which the youth can begin to interact with the parliamentary environment. First, the Youth Parliament. The Sri Lanka Youth Parliament was founded in 2010 to commemorate the International Year of Youth, but its concept was first conceived in the late 1990s with the launch of Younpuriya Initiative. The Sri Lanka Youth Parliament promotes young people's participation in decision-making, including women and ethnically diverse populations. It has been acknowledged as a political training institution in the context of having gifted a large number of young politicians to Sri Lankan politics at the local and provincial levels. In the electoral division, 160 members of the Youth Parliament are elected in a democratic election procedure. Candidates must represent the youth clubs in their communities in order to participate in the election process. Members of the youth clubs vote for their candidates based on their leadership characteristics and community involvement. There is also the Student Parliament. The Ministry of Education introduced the Student Parliament Initiative. The Ministry's intention was to provide opportunities of practical experiences to students on democracy, its responsibilities and accountability, supremacy of the law, significance of the vote and casting the vote. Further, it also aimed to develop their attitude and skills like engaging in dialogue, reaching an agreement, listening to and respecting the opinions of others, and accepting the concept of the agreement by the majority. It also envisaged the building up of a broad social cohesion. The objective of the Student Parliament program was 1. To give a broad understanding of the basic concepts of democracy and its practices. Number 2. To provide active opportunities to reach national educational common objectives and common competencies. Number 3. To implement in the school system a national program in order to bring about peace and reconciliation in accordance with the recommendations of the Lessons Learnt and Reconciliation Commission, or the LLRC. Number 4. To open up ways and means to develop social cohesion and conflict resolution by expanding collective coexistence, brotherhood and mutual understanding among multi-ethnic and multi-religious groups. Number 5. To directly involve school children in the task of nation building with the objective of achieving regional and national development. Number 6. To develop leadership skills in school children. Number 7. More efficiently and actively bring to fulfillment the competencies expected to develop in the school community through theoretical and practical engagement in the subject of civic education.